Hello, everybody, and welcome to a somber day here at lunchtime with Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by the Detroit Lions on the Prowl. If you want energy, you're going to get it today.
Yes,
Today, what's on the menu today is pain. Our pain. We're going to talk about this Lions fiasco versus Minnesota, what we see in it. Things about Matthew Stafford, about Patricia, about Quinn, about the whole organization. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But first, I want to bring in my equally pained friend, Kurt Steele.
What up, no? Hey, welcome to the show. We appreciate you tuning in. As always, please watch our videos all the way to the end so it improves our YouTube algorithm so more Lions fans like yourself can get this content. And whew, y'all about to get some content today. And click the notification bell, hit the subscribe button so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. It's time to start the show right now.
Hello and welcome back to the Pain Train. This week, it's us that's injured from watching this disgusting performance this week. I'm going to start. I'm disgusted. I don't want to hear Patricia say, coach it up better one more time. If it's your fault, you leave. Take off. We don't need you anymore. So and one thing I give Patricia credit for, he solved that 12 men on the field thing, because now he only puts 10 men on the field. 70-yard run by Dalvin Cook, and we had 10 men on the field. I can't do anything else but laugh because it's awful. Okay, so we have 10 men on the field. Matthew Stafford looks like, I don't know what. You go to Danny Amendola is your leading wide receiver. There are things very wrong with this picture. You know, we had the revenge tour of Everson Griffin, who did what? One freaking tackle. One tackle.
And got juked out of his short spot, Kirk Cousins.
Oh, no, that was Cousins, yeah. And then we bring all these people over from New England, and all of them make stupid mistakes. Yep. All of them. Danny Amendola takes his helmet off, 15-yard penalty. Teron Harmon hits somebody, 15-yard penalty. Now you go ahead and you look at Jamie Collins, headbutts an official, 15-yard penalty, ejected from the game. What are you bringing? You said you were bringing leadership. What the heck is this? This ain't leadership.
No.
You brought in a bunch of clowns to fit in with your clown crap that you brought in from New England, and I want it gone. I want Bob Quinn gone. I want Patricia gone. Hell, I want the Fords gone. Excuse my language. But you know what I mean? Oh, I'm just so frustrated with this whole situation. I know you didn't have Kenny Golladay, but do you have to look that bad on offense? And I just can't do it. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It is so bad.
Darrell Bevel, you need to go. You won the time of possession and still lost the game. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here. My keys to the game were stopping Dalvin Cook. Great job with that. Marvin Hall, you throw it deep to him on the first play. He has 2 steps and Matthew Stafford underthrows him. Let's never go to that play again because it would have worked.
Yeah.
There's all these things, and I'm going to let you go because I don't want to take everything.
Well, looking at the game as a whole, it's just a disappointing. You look at the play calling from Darrell Bevel on the offense, and even the fans know versus a team like Minnesota that has a hurt secondary, you pass to run, but lo and behold, they come out just running the ball with Adrian Peterson. You know, he has some decent runs, but it wasn't what the offense needed. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you throw the deep pass to start the game, play action, underthrown. Okay, you kind of move on from that, but it's just the whole play calling itself. The system itself was just lacking aggressiveness, lacking execution. So many drop passes yesterday. Amendola, Swift, It was just so many people just, they couldn't, like, it's like they couldn't catch, it was like they couldn't catch a cold in a snowstorm yesterday. It was like ridiculous. It was all an out overall, just bad performance by the team. And it's just like the players have a defeatist attitude right now. It's just like they once they get to a certain point in the game, they just kind of just stop playing. Like, and then the I don't know what Jamie Collins is doing on the field. It just looked like he's just kind of just running around, not being a sure tackler, not taking proper angles. I mean, you're a veteran in the league. You're supposed to be this, come over and lead the linebacking core. You're leading them right into the ground because you're running. No one's playing great defense from that linebacking core. Griffin, you came in saying all the right things, but you did all the wrong things. It was just a bad performance, bad coaching, bad. And then Matt Prater. I mean,
oh, there you go. There's another one.
I said last week that it was time for him to go, and you were like, nah, he'll be all right. No, but maybe it's time for Matt Prater to go.
Yep.
I watched that angle of that missed field goal, and they showed a perfect replay of the hold, and it was perfect. Perfect hold.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
He's just not getting it done. It's time to I said this on social media yesterday. I said this to a few of my acquaintances on Facebook and Twitter, and I was like, it is time to burn it to the ground. Scorched earth. I said you let everyone go home early for the day at Allen Park, and you just torch it. Start with that crazy hill they built when Patricia got there. They built that running hill and just torch it to the ground. Everybody got to go.
Yep.
Everybody got to go. I don't care who's in there. You got to go. You got to go. I mean,
let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a significant improvement? Because that's the mandate. Significant improvement.
It's the same. It's the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
We're the same. We're worse than we were in the position last year, because at least we had one tie last year. We're in the exact same position we were in last year.
We are.
We're worse.
We are. We're worse.
We're worse.
And here's the thing that everybody said last year. If we had Stafford, we only had Stafford, we have Stafford.
We're 3-5. And last year we were 3-4-1.
Is it just me, or he just doesn't look interested this year? Or I can't say that, but it's something. Something's
just
wrong.
That fact, and he's pressing. You can tell when things aren't going well because he presses, and like those two interceptions by him, he was pressing to get the ball to TJ Hawkinson. Throwing the ball, and those throws were like he was just trying to force it in, and he does that from time to time with his arm talent, but some throws you just can't make. Some things you can't just make up with your arm talent. And those two throws you just kind of make up with your arm talent. It was just the linebacker was in a good position. That's the one area that Minnesota is not lacking in is linebacker play. Their linebacker player is good. Right. They can cover. Those guys got some good linebackers. Unlike us. But it was just one of those things where, to me, I'm saying you got to torch it to the ground, scorch earth. I'm not saying tank. Don't get me wrong. I never want to see the Lions tank and lose. I'm not a friend of ours said, oh, they should just tanking so they can get somebody, can't get Lawrence or get Justin Fields. I never want the Lions to tank.
I don't even care.
Now, I will say this, torch it to the ground, fire everybody. I mean, here's one of my suggestions. And I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago in the NBA, right, that the New Orleans franchise was back when they were the Hornets, because Charlotte were the Bobcats back then. They hadn't gotten their name back. The NBA took over that team, forced that ownerships to sell because they were not competitive.
Can they do that here?
They need to do that with the Lions. The NFL needs to force to sell, because they aren't doing anything to improve this franchise. The fans deserve better. The city deserves better. And it's just time for the Force to sell the team.
I agree with you 100%. They can't get it right. They haven't tried to get it right. I mean, maybe they've tried to get it right, but I want to focus back in on Matthew Stafford. I seen some things over this last year whether it's decline, whether it's an injury, they're not reporting. He's overthrowing, he's underthrowing, and on some of those drop passes, it's on him. It's not really on the receiver. I know you're a receiver, you hit you in the hands, you're supposed to catch the ball. But just something's wrong with Stafford. He can't hit the deep pass.
Yeah, that's one thing. You always count on Matthew Stafford to throw a deep ball and have some good.
He's underthrowing a lot this year. He's making
I don't know what's
dumb
going
decisions,
on.
taking sacks, doing things like his mind is.
Man, I just saw him just kind of just fold down and just like kind of just getting a fetal position and just like.
So is it mental? Is it physical? Is it?
It may be a combination of both. It may be he's had a tough couple of years.
One thing he's not, I got to say this, one thing he's not is a game manager. And I think that's what they're trying to make him be, as a game manager rather than a quarterback to dink and dunk the West Coast weird stuff. And I just don't think that works for him. He's a gunslinger, and that's who he is. And you put him in this little box.
You got to let that dude go, man. Let him throw the ball. You let him sling it. And one thing I will say this before we really kind of get off Matthew Stafford. Shout out to Kelly Stafford and shout out to little Hunter Stafford. If you don't know, it should be widespread. On Friday night, Stafford almost didn't go to even travel to Minnesota because he was on his way home because of the COVID thing that he was in that COVID protocol in isolation at the hotel. Friday night, his daughter fell out of the high chair, his 2-year-old Hunter, and fell on her head. And Kelly couldn't get anyone to come watch the other 3 kids because they have 4 kids all under 4 years old.
Right.
The twins are 3.5. Hunter is 2, and they have a newborn Tyler. So, and with them being in isolation from the COVID, even though they all tested negative, it was hard for her to find someone because Hunter was showing signs of concussion. She threw up, it was like one of those things where, that's one of the signs. And she started to, kind of go in and out of where she was like closing her eyes. And like, so Kelly was just freaking out, called the paramedics. They came out. She couldn't get anyone to come watch the other kids. Luckily, she found someone at the last minute because Matthew Stafford was on his way home. Wow. And Kelly called him, said, "No, I found someone, go back, and go back so you can go to work on and fly out in the morning." That had to be a hard thing for Matthew Stafford to go through.
And maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I'm a parent. I have 2 kids. And if my child was at that age, 2 years old, and I don't even think I would have, I don't know if I would have been able to, in good conscience, saying, not Kelly Stafford's a hell of a football wife, because I've been around military spouses, my whole, pretty much my whole adult life, and those spouses are tough, and one group of spouses that I can say that can kind of not, I won't say on the same level, but they're up there as well as football wives because they have a lot to deal with, especially during the season, and for her to deal with that situation. And to be able to get through that, she deserves a round of applause like any other. She's basically, for the last week, she was a single mother to 4 kids under 4 years old. And I've seen that plenty of times in the military where their husbands are deployed. And, you see them with, in the grocery store or the commissary with like 4 kids in tow. They got 2 on the stroller. They got 1 on a little bouncy thing on the chest, and they got 1 helping pushing the stroller because that's how many kids they got. They got 4 or 5 kids that young. But that had to be something that was frightening. And big shout out to her because I don't know if, most regular people would be freaking out, and most regular people would have told their husband to come home right away. They wouldn't have sent them back to go play a game. But, that's his job. He's a professional, and that's what he's paid to do. And she's just that support system to him that most people, a lot of players may not have, especially on the regular outside of the world. But shout out to her, as and to him, just to even go out there sometime. I mean, even though I know he had a bad game, but just to even try it during that time, I don't know if I could have did that as a parent. I don't know if I could have left my.
That's a good point.
My 2-year-old child had a concussion. There's certain things that are bigger than football, and my family is always bigger than that. So
yes, absolutely. And I want to give a quick, while I'm thinking about it, I want to give a quick shout out to Right or Wrong, who was actually on the CBS show. It was amazing. I'm like, oh, that looks like Ryder. And then I was thinking about it, kept looking at it, and then it said Anthony. I was like, holy cow, it is him. So I want to give a big shout out to Right or Wrong. He has a YouTube channel. He's a young guy and does a really good job with his take on the Detroit Lions. So if you could want to sub to his channel, I will put a comment card. It should be above right now that you can go sub to his channel. But yeah, it was really amazing to see one of our fellow DSA members.
DSA.
But okay, so let's get into some of this stuff. You bring in all these guys for defense, and they can't tackle anybody. They're playing patty cake with these guys for some reason. Is Dalvin Cook Superman, or they just can't tackle?
To be honest with you, it's a combination of both. I got to be honest, because Dalvin Cook is the league leader in yards after contact.
Yep.
So it's not just the Lions. But there is part of that line. The Lions, they are very undisciplined on defense. They're not wrapping up, and it's not just against Dalvin Cook. It's just against a lot of people. They're not wrapping up.
They're getting progressively slower too.
Yeah, and it's like to have a game where you can get progressively worse was the wrong game to have it against a guy like Dalvin Cook. That's the guy you have to wrap up. And here's the deal is, and one of those things here that one of the I noticed is that we talk about all the former Vikings that were on the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the former Lions that made a difference in the game with the Vikings.
I know.
Amir Abdullah, Riley Reef had a ridiculous game.
Handled Everson Griffin.
Man, he was getting it done.
Just handled him. And we got rid of him, of course, because he wasn't good enough to be here.
Yeah,
it's just awful to me. This whole game, he held it down. You're right. Amir Abdullah actually catches the ball and gets a touchdown, and I think that was just to slap us in the face.
Yeah, that was intentional.
I think the other thing is that I look at this game again. First quarter, we don't give up any points. Third quarter, we don't give up any points. That's the second game in a row that this has happened. It's because and this is what really irritates me. I said we have to win the time of possession, right? Mm-hmm. Also, we had to stop Dalvin Cook. Do you know we won the time of possession in this game?
Yeah,
and
because
lost
they had some long sustained drives, but either turn the ball over or miss field goal or they didn't didn't come away with any points. Where they held the ball for a while and then the drive would just stall. So
yeah, Matt Prater misses. Stafford throws an interception in the end zone. We were marching again that one time. Chase Daniel throws an interception. 3 interceptions on the day. Chase Daniel trying to be like Matthew Stafford throws 1. Stafford throws 2. I lead the example there. 73.8 rating for Stafford. Chase Daniel 77.1 in limited action. We make Kirk Cousins look like a god.
Man, like he's
220 yards, 3 touchdowns, 141.7 rating.
Like he's the second coming of Joe Montana out there. I mean, he was just.
His QBR is 83.6, and Chase Daniel's QBR is 18.1. I know Stafford had a bad game, and there are a lot of people out there that want to get him out of town. But when his QBR is 51.2, and he has probably one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. Mm. And still he outplays the backup guy.
Yeah.
For all you people that want him gone, I'll be all over you when he is. Because when he's gone, you guys are going to miss him. I swear you will. And yes, he is. I don't know what's wrong with him this year. I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to play for
Definitely
Patricia.
Having a down. I think he's just done with the state of the team right now. I just think that,
does he just know it's going to be a rebuild again? And
I think so. I think so. Sometimes when the writing's on the wall, you can see it. You can kind of feel it. And I've been in I've been in places where, you know, we have had a lot of turnovers. Like I said, I served in the military, and, you know, I've seen times where you have a total leadership change, and it's either it's time, or, you know, you had some leadership that was toxic and they had to kind of just move them. And when you have that, it takes a toll on the unit. It takes a toll on morale. It takes a toll on the troops. And you have to work through it and rebuild it. And sometimes it takes a while because the cohesiveness isn't going to be there for a while. And I don't think the cohesiveness, as far as on the field, has been here in Detroit for quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think this is a total disaster. We're going to move to who's eating and who's starving. This is a hard one to do. I have one on defense. And that's Austin Bryant. Comes up with a kick, punt. And
that was my guy.
He actually played pretty well.
He did. First game back in forever. I mean, I don't know if to me that's his first. To me, that's like really his first time really doing anything significant.
2 solo tackles too, and
yeah. I mean, shout out to Austin Bryant.
And I'm going to say this, and you might not like me for this, but Desmond Trufant had a decent game.
I saw that.
He had a sack.
I saw that. He had a sack.
Everson Griffin gets no sacks, but Desmond Trufant gets one.
Had a nice breakup on Adam Thielen.
Yes, he did.
On the sidelines. That was, you know what, though?
Maybe the hamstring.
I will say this. Desmond Trufant, I've been giving you the business for weeks.
Yes, he has.
Welcome back, man.
Yeah, welcome back. I guess I have to, on offense, I have to go with... God, I don't even. I'm gonna have to go with Amendola. He's got 77 yards. He was targeted 10 times, unfortunately. 64 yards for DeAndre Swift. Honorable mention for me. What do you think? Do you have any? Eaton?
Yeah, that's my guy.
That was my Eaton. I didn't do the starving yet, so I'll have you do your Eaton, and then
Eaton. I would say that I would have to agree with you, Don. Austin Bryant with the big, block punt, and then he just played well in a really first significant game he's played since he's been a Detroit Lion. Yeah. On the offense, 13 carries, 64 yards for DeAndre Swift. He actually and then he had 33 yards of receiving. So he had 97 all-purpose yards. So that's my guy who was eating on offense.
I'm going to go with who's starving. Mm-hmm. You want to name everybody on the defense pretty much? Or,
pretty much the whole
I'm going with Jamie Collins. He did have 4 tackles, but he looked stupid on that one play with Dalvin Cook.
Man,
he cooked him.
He put the brakes on, and that dude just man, he was like, he looked like
Jelani Tavai there. There's so many people who did horrible in this game. Duron Harmon for the penalty. It just goes on and on and on and on. There's just no one that really stood out to me.
Who's starving on
Griffin
defense?
Actually had a pass defense, though. That's great.
Oh, yeah. So I hate. Who's starving on defense for me is Corey Allen. He just coached a horrible game. Coached a horrible game. Is
it him or Patricia?
Shoot. At this point, I give it to both of them. But since he's supposed to be the quote unquote calling the plays on defense, Corey Allen gets the who's starving on defense for me. On the offense. Corey Allen. I'm gonna go with Darrell Bevel. I'm gonna go with both coordinators. Darrell Bevel's is starving. His play calling is atrocious.
Oh, I forgot about the offense.
Yeah, his offense, the offensive play calling was atrocious throughout the whole game. What is your game plan? Do you know how to attack and that's one thing I would tell you about that people notice about Bill Belichick, where these guys are coming from, where Patricia and Quinn are coming from. They know how to take away the strongest player from the other team, whatever they want to do, and they know how to attack the weaknesses. And that's one thing we don't do. Darrell Bevel does not attack. What's the weakest thing on the past, the 2 games that stand out, Minnesota and New Orleans. They both secondary was hurting, and we just didn't throw the ball. It's just like you throw the ball. Matthew Stafford can throw the ball. He can throw the ball with the best of them. And you don't throw the ball? Come on now. You throw the ball.
44 passes in the game. So that's, I mean, it's not like he didn't try. He just
it's just like, but it's what kind of plays are you calling for him to be successcul? Exactly. You're not setting himself up for success.
My starting on this game is Adrian Peterson.
Oh man, you know what though? He has some decent runs for me.
No, but he's got 8 carries for 29 yards. He's only 3.6 on the ground average, and this is his revenge game.
Yeah,
that's the key. That's the key.
It was more like we're gonna go in here.
You look at him on the sidelines; he's happy as hell for everybody else but our team. What the hell is that? I'm sorry, I don't like that. Yeah, I really don't.
What is that?
That bothers me.
One thing that stood out with me, the play calling with Adrian Peterson was down on the goal line.
Oh,
how do you call a stretch play on the goal line with Adrian Peterson?
With someone who's power up the middle. Back. Ugh.
You run the ball. You had the fullback in it, and you run a stretch play to the right.
Well, the last time they tried to run the ball up the middle on 4th and 1, that guy that he came in motion, Marvin Jones came in motion. The guy that came in motion with him blew the play up.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to do that again. So he decides, let's run the slower guy to the outside rather than
slowest guy
to the outside. Because I would have put Swift in that situation, or I would have Kerryon Johnson even.
Kerryon Johnson had you know what though? He had a couple good plays.
He had a couple good plays, but does that really matter? I mean, he's 4 carries for 29 yards. He's averaged 7.3 in the game. So that's the best average running back we have.
I mean, he had a couple breakout runs, but
and I'm gonna give I gotta give Kerryon Johnson props. He has not been injured this year, but I know.
Nope. Well, you can't get injured
if you don't play.
Yeah, you got to get in the game to be injured, but
But still, he didn't have to be in the game to be injured several times in his career. So
yeah, but you know what though, he had some decent runs yesterday. So I have to give credit where credit due, just like Desmond Trufant. When he got the ball, he made the best of the situation. He made some good carries and was the best average per carry on the Lions yesterday. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, this is not a normal show for us. We don't usually do this type of show, but I'm telling you, it was needed. And now we're going to go to one more thing before we go out. We're going to talk about Quinn and Patricia, and it is over now. I think it's over. I think Tuesday comes today, and they should fire them now. I don't think they should wait. I don't think there's any hope for this season. This team looked horrible. And if you want to point to injuries, you can point to Galladay, you can point to the injuries and all that stuff. But it's excuse after excuse after excuse, and Patricia's putting it on him, so he needs to be fired. This is unacceptable now. We're 3-5. We are now officially in the basement in the NFC North because Minnesota beat us. It's over. In my opinion, it's time for a change. They needed to jump out to a really good record. They had teams that were terrible. They've played some really bad teams. And I'm sorry. This is not acceptable.
Yeah, I believe that as well. I think it's I believe that, like I said, scorched earth. I mean, burn it to the ground. Fire everybody.
Promote Braden Combs. He's the only one that seems to be doing a good job.
Or Hank Fraley.
Fraley.
Yeah, and let those guys run it for the rest of the season.
Fire Bevel as well.
Yeah, I mean, scorched. I mean, it needs to be scorched.
Coordinator.
Scorched earth. I mean, like pour some gasoline on it and torch it, burn it to the ground, and just rebuild it. I mean, right now we're in a complete. And here's the thing: you have talent on the team. I can't say there aren't people who have talent, but the people who you have talent on the team, they're just underperforming, underachieving.
Do we have talent, or are we as Lions fans always thinking our guys are better than they really are?
No, I think we have some talent. You look at TJ Hawkinson's a good tight end. We look at Frank Ragnar's pretty good. Taylor Decker still hasn't given up a sack all season. You have talent. You know what I'm saying? It may be spotty, but we still have talent. You know,
guess. I mean,
I don't think, and it's not
I think that there's a perception in our city that we think that they're better than they actually
Oh,
are.
I get that.
And I think there's a lot of those
saying.
players on this team that I don't think would be starters on another team.
Oh yeah, you got some spotty guys that they're there in Detroit.
Christian
and
Jones being one of them.
Christian Jones would not be a starter anywhere else in the league. I don't even think Nick Williams would be a starter because he wasn't a starter in Chicago. He was a rotational player.
I still think
he comes to Detroit and starts.
I think Penasini started.
Penasini's. I like Penasini.
What's his name? Deshaun Hand. He was on pace to be one of our best defensive linemen, and he's just basically disappeared this year.
Yeah, he had a good game last week, but
he had a little bit of something in this game, but it's like these players that we draft. They start out great, and then they just fall. Kerryon Johnson, he's into pretty much oblivion right now. I don't think he's going to make it out of his rookie deal. I don't think he'll resign him.
The two guys, really, to be honest with you, the two guys that left in the last 2 years. That really just irritate me that is gone. And I know it is what it is, but Quandre Diggs and Darius Slay, I think those were the two most idiotic moves to get those guys off of the Lions team.
I agree with that. I think that those were homegrown guys too.
Yep.
Those were draft picks.
And you don't give away great players that are homegrown talents. Exactly. Not like that.
Because it shows what your team is about. You know, I think that there's the argument for Kenny Golladay that says that we should re-sign him because he's homegrown. He's third round pick and he's made it on our team. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't want this to be an incredibly long show. It's very emotional today for Lions fans. I think that a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of these rant videos, and just decided we said, you know what, the heck with it. We're going to put our feelings out there. I
saw plenty of them yesterday evening. Shout out to Detroit Sports World. My man said the same thing. It is time to fire Patricia and Quinn.
Yes,
my guy, he gave it to Raw. So shout out to my man Mo over there at Detroit Sports World. He did his thing yesterday. Yeah. So
I think there's a lot of them that, I mean, even the positive Detroit Lions fans today are like, nah, you know what? I'm done.
And shout out to Rachel Marie Sports. She holds it down for us over in the DSA, the queen of the DSA.
For sure.
She made a point yesterday. She said, well, this Viking fan was giving it to me yesterday. Like, we have the same record. I said, here's the difference. Their team is starting to win and not lose, and our team is starting to lose and not win.
Yeah. How is 3 and 5 looking different for each of those teams?
Yep. One's ascending and one's descending.
And that is the truth. All right, guys, for my man Kurt Steele, I wanted to say thank you for everybody who rocks with us. And I know this is kind of a ho-hum video. I know it's probably not the one that we really wanted. We wanted a Monday win, a victory Monday, but unfortunately we're Lions fans. We know that doesn't happen very often under Patricia. So
let me get my Brussels sprouts of the day. Getting vegetables again today for a dessert of the day. One more thing. The Lions were the one team that were actually the only team in the NFL that actually scored first all season long until when? Yesterday.
Yep.
So that streak was broken. So
they also had a touchdown on the first drive. Yesterday.
So they found a new and elaborate way to lose a game. Just lose it from the beginning to the end.
43 years, and I have seen some incredibly bad teams. I went through 0-16.
Yep.
This team isn't that bad. It isn't that bad. It's mismanaged. It's the free agents that we got aren't panning out, most of them.
And I would say even in the 0-16 season, I felt better about some of the losses than I feel about the losses that we have now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's more talent on this team, and I think that's why we're so much more upset that they can't use
that's
the
what makes it
that they have.
Because even in the 0-16 season, we were competitive in a lot of those games.
Yes.
We were in those games. Yep. And now we're just getting blown out. Last game, it's getting whooped. Take it to the wood shop.
But it seems like we're getting whooped, but it also seems like we're not trying as hard as we should to. I just see this lack of effort. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not trying to say
attitude on the field.
Yep. I'm not trying to say that they quit on our coach, but because every time and Sheila should be at his house next week, so this is going to be either she fires him this week, or if they lose next week,
she needs to be at his house today. She needs to be like pulling in his driveway right now.
Yep.
Like it's 7. Like
it's time to go. Pack your bags.
7 o'clock.
But anyway, so if you could like the video and do all those things, I'm going to go to Kurt to end the video. I am in pain as a Lions fan this week. I have been a fan of this team for 43 years. I will not go to another team. That is not me. But I've had it. And as fans, we can say that we've had it and still be fans. I don't like this segment of our fandom that says, "Oh, you always have to be positive or you're not a Lions fan." You know what? Find some positivity right now.
Nah, you're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to get down on the team. You know, you're allowed to express yourself, and the things aren't going right, and we deserve better as Lions fans. Detroit, like I said, deserves better. But here's my final thought for today. All right, so it is Melancholy Monday. We're feeling down. We're a little angry. We got our rants out. So what we need to do? All right, Lions fans, you know what they need to do. We gonna let this thing ride out today, and then tomorrow we're gonna get up and we're gonna be okay. Because guess what? Lions lost, but your life still goes on, right? So you need to do whatever you need to do in your life to really re-examine yourself, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, and keep going. Because guess what? That's what Lions fans do. Because one thing, I met a Packers fan a few years ago in Minnesota. I mean, not Minnesota, in Green Bay. Up in Wisconsin, and I had my Lions gear on in the middle of Wisconsin, and he said, if I ever met a Lions fan that was a woman, I'd marry her in a heartbeat. Why? Because she would be loyal to the end, and that's what we do. So, please take a day, woosah, tomorrow, get up and go about your business and handle it. And as always, what you need to do, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. For my man, Jim Bordeau, over here at Detroit Lions on the Prowl, we will holler at you real soon.